Hey folks, it's that time of the year. I'm your host BKP, and it's time Team FYN Sports and Circuit World of Blue Ridge presents Fan and Rebel Wrap Up. Coach Chad Cheatham, the offense coordinator Chris Thigpen, got number 12, junior Luke Holloway, the quarterback, and number 6, a senior Jacob Tuggle, the defensive end. Got everybody, right?
Yes, sir.
Coach, good to be back for another year. This is our first show of the season. First of all, okay, Miles, when you're watching, I was looking to be more of like a fullback coach. I was going for full. Don't laugh.
Miles
Don't make fun
Miles
of it.
wants to be fullback too.
Right. So I was looking for, but Miles, if I got to help you, block up that gap, I'm more than willing to suit up and go. Thanks, Coach. I appreciate that. I really do. Thanks a lot, guys.
You're welcome.
Wow, you guys are too much. Coach, let's start right out and talk about all of the offseason, all of the hard work, all of the scrimmages that come to that first live game this Friday night. You had a big win over a rival, Gilmer Bobcats. But talk about everything throughout the preseason that translated on the field Friday night. Let's start there this year.
Yeah, I think that it all started in December when we finished. We played Calhoun, and then we took a couple months off there. And then kids started coming back in December at 6:30 in the morning, and that's when you win football games. It's not necessarily on Friday nights. It's you get these guys that are willing to sacrifice and to buy in and get up at 5:45 and come and work on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And I think that's when you develop something special. I think a lot of times that players and maybe some coaches think that you can go out there in July and 1st of August and get things done, but these guys went above and beyond, and I think it started to pay off for us a little bit. 2 scrimmages were good to us in order to get our feet under us and work our schemes and things like that. But hats off to our players and our coaches, man. Just so much commitment and dedication. The energy's good. Enthusiasm's been good. Attendance is good. So I'm very proud of where we're at right now. Obviously, we're not satisfied. Somebody asked me today, which is your toughest opponent this year, and I said the next one. And that means all 9 of them that we got left, they're all tough.
Well, absolutely different season. High school football, we always enjoy the fact that, we graduate some great seniors.
Sure.
So the first game of the year, we start to see the guys that are stepping up, that did the work in the off season, and it's showing. Let me ask you, Luke, looks like you've been in the weight room a little bit. I see a little difference from last year to this year. Seriously, I see really you're a junior, and I'm just going to say maturing back there. Talk about the difference from last year to you're going through scrimmages, but your first snaps this year in this game, the confidence level. Talk a little bit about this season where you're at.
I mean, even though we graduated Mason Rhodes, our center, obviously, I felt the confidence level was much greater than last year, even with a new center up front. I mean, basically the same, great confidence up there, and just another year coming back bigger, faster, stronger. Everybody, I think it was the weight room treated us well this past year.
Okay, let me go to the defensive side, okay? Usually, and let's talk about team, usually takes a couple games. It takes the off season. You work together as a defense, but once you start those live snaps as a game, how unified is that defense back there already this year going into the season?
I feel like this year we're more confident on the defense side of the ball too. We're swarming the football better. Everybody's got a better effort. And I just think we're better we are this time this year than we were last year also.
Coach, offensive coordinator, talk about the offense. Luke here from last year to this year. Who you got running the ball? Who's up front? Talk about the offense this year, maybe as opposed to last year, and where you guys are at already in the season.
Just as both these guys mentioned, we've got everybody back, which has been great. They're playing with a higher confidence level. It's the same offense, 2 years in a row, so it was a lot less teaching new stuff and a lot more just polishing up on things. Luke's throwing the ball really well. He feels confident back there. Jalen Ingram's done a great job at tight end. He's way more physical than he was last year. He's playing very confident. Cahuta, Andre, been running some really good routes. They're blocking well on the outside. And really, we've been able to throw the ball probably better the 2 scrimmages in the game we had last week than we did all last season. And a lot of that's got to do with Traylon Owensby had such a good year rushing the football, and Will Moses had such a good year rushing the football last year. People are starting to crowd the box, and it's just opening up things on the outside for us. So confidence, another year of maturity, another year in the weight room, and just being around the same coaches and then the same playbook, I think has been a big factor in that.
Talk about the front line. I mean, you put up some big numbers Friday night against the Bobcats. I like to go to that front line. I always say if that line's not working,
Correct.
you can do everything else, but that front line needs to be working. How are they already with the first game as far as gelling together, being together? What are you seeing there on the front line?
I think we're much better right now, like Jacob said, than we were at this time last year because we've been more consistent personnel-wise. These guys have got a lot of game under their belt because they're juniors, but they played as sophomores last year for 11 games, if you remember. So guys like Micah O'Neal and Mason Bundy and we moved Jackson Weeks over to that left guard, and Chris Scott, who's just a junior. They figured it out a little bit, and Jalen Ingram being back at tight end, and obviously Miles 2 years in the system and being a mature senior. We're still kind of young up there, so I tell them each week the game's won at the line of scrimmage. If we control it on both sides of the ball, I feel like we got a chance to win the football game. And fortunately, we were able to do that a little bit, and hopefully this week we'll be able to do the same.
Second year, okay. What is when I like when you say somebody asks you what is the toughest game you have to play this year? The next one. I get it, but what are some of head coach Chad Cheatham's expectations this year? Came in last year, first year last year, made it to postseason. This is your team.
Right.
This is your team now. What are your expectations this year?
Well, I think it's just a constant pursuit of excellence in all three facets of the game. Last year, we had to coach a lot of things like effort and energy and enthusiasm. And I tell our kids, we don't have to coach that anymore because they bring it every single day. They're excited. Their practices are upbeat, tempo. They're fun. For us, I don't know how much fun they are for them at times. But we've made a difference there. So we're not having to coach so much character, energy, enthusiasm, and we can deal more with scheme and technique and things like that. I think that makes a big difference going into the second year. We set a standard, and I think this team will only play to that standard. They'll only practice to that standard, and they know if they're off a little bit. And sometimes during practice we get off and we have to redirect them. But for the most part, every day's a pleasure and every day's fun.
Guys, last year, Lauren, let me see if I can get this right. Last year, you were having to pick up what Coach was laying down. Did I get that right? Did I?
Putting down.
Putting down? I never get that right.
Putting
Coach.
down.
Whatever. But you were having to do. Sorry, Lauren. You were having to do that last year. You come in. Coaches knew a lot of work and a lot of time putting in, getting acclimated with what Coach wanted to do. This year, what is the big differences this year? After that 1 year's behind you, and also don't get in trouble. But what's this guy like a little bit? But
No, that's okay.
You good with that, Coach?
Absolutely.
All right. So what is maybe different this year that the flow is better, or talk about this year versus last year?
Like, I feel like last year, like they said, they were having to teach new schemes and formations and everything. And this year, and even energy last year, but this year we already know it and we've been working on it all off season, and during the season they're not having to coach anything, they're just polishing up and they're still bringing the energy. They're just not having to coach it to us. We're feeding off of it and we're bringing the energy as a whole every day.
Can you guys keep up with him?
Not quite.
No, we know, Coach. We know. We got to check it out. What about for you this year, as far as maybe the defense, maybe the workout? What Luke's talking about this year? Is it different? Like, hey, we're ready to step in and go with this program last year. Is that the kind of feeling?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I just feel like years prior, it was more we had to learn like effort, and we just really didn't have any motivation to do good. Now we're bringing it every single day, and we can learn what we need to do, each team, new schemes, everything like that.
All right, before I get the next two guys on the couch that are coming in after this segment, you're going to play a good Lafayette Ramblers team this Friday night, okay? One, what was it like playing your rival? What is that like, playing the rival and that feeling of that first game under the lights? And two, the second part is, what are you guys seeing, watching film on Lafayette, going over there Friday night? This is a big 4A team, actually in the same region you just played in.
I feel like rival games always fun, even though we had a little bit of a rain delay and lightning delay. Keeps off the field during warm-ups. I mean, as soon as you get on the field, there's a lot of energy there. Stands are packed. There's just a good atmosphere to be in. And this week, I feel like Lafayette, they're a good football team, but I feel like up front, we can handle them. I trust our guys against anybody in the state, and our backs and receivers as well. I feel like we just have to play to our potential and take care of business, and everything will be good.
How about on the defensive side? What are you guys seeing with Lafayette? They've been rebuilding for a couple years. Good football team are going to go play Friday night. What are you guys seeing on the offensive side that the defense has to be aware of?
I know up front they're definitely quicker and more sound with their blocks and everything, and we haven't really had to play any team that's as physical as them, I don't think. So that'll be a challenge for us, but I think we can do it.
All right, I always ask this question every year before we go to break. Luke, what was it Monday when you showed up? You said, I need to work on. I need to work on. Critique yourself. What did you say? I got to go in there and work harder at this week.
Even though we'd done a good job last week, I didn't feel like I prepared as well as I could have. Like in the film room, you could say, is not as much on the field. Like I felt like we had a very strong week of practice, but in the film room last week and just a mental game, I think everybody basically, because there was so much hype, we were all kind of overhyped for the game, you could say. But I mean, we took care of business, and now straight vision for the next 9+ games.
There you go. Jacob, what was that? What was that for you when you showed up Monday morning? You said to yourself, hey, I got to work on, I need to get better at, I got to improve.
Just going from playing last week a wing tee offense and then having to go to a spread, it's a completely different kind of scheme that we have to set up for them. It's just not the same offense.
All right, guys, we wish you well Friday night. Long drive over to Lafayette. Yeah. There's no way to get there.
There's no way. There's no easy way to get there.
There's no quick way to get there. Long ride. Wish you well. Hey, folks, don't forget, these guys are going over Friday night to Lafayette, and they're going over to Lafayette Friday night, game 2. And so we're going to take it. I got to check out my jersey. There you go. Look at that. Oh. Sorry, I got to keep looking at it, Coach. I love it. Hey, we're going to be back. Two more Fan and Rebels on the other side of this break are going to join us. Coach is going to stay with us. We're going to talk a little more about this past Friday night's game, but then we're going to get into what's upcoming with Coach Chad Cheatham right after this break. Take a break, Josh.
The summer truck event is here at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. So come get a payload of savings on Georgia's favorite trucks, like over $11,000 off new Silverado crew cabs, or more than $6,000 off Colorado crew cabs. Every Chevy truck and SUV is discounted for this special event. Don't miss out. The summer truck event at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevy trucks always cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
Circuit World, with multiple locations to serve you in Murphy and Franklin, North Carolina, Blairsville, Blue Ridge, and Ellen, Georgia. Locally owned and operated since 1985. Appliances, electronics, and furniture. Name brand products like LG, Samsung, Dell, Whirlpool, Ashley, Catnapper, and more. No credit check, only 10% down on furniture, and only $10 down on any new lease purchase. Mention FYN10 for your special deal today at Circuit World. In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
Hey folks, we're back. I'm your host BKP, and it is time for Rebel Wrap Up here at Circuit World in Blue Ridge. First of all, I want to thank Papa's Pizza to Go for providing the meal here tonight. All of the Team FYN sponsors, and don't forget you can follow us at Team FYN Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Every Friday night at Team FYN Sports. Check it out for updates all along. All through the game. Coach Chad Cheatham here, head coach of the Fannin Rebels, and offensive coordinator Chris Thigpen joined on the couch, joining us the second half. Number 38, senior Alex White, he's a kicker, and number 42, senior Gabe Willis, fullback. This is 3A. Fannin is in 3A Region 7. They're coming off a big win, I think it was 41-9, Coach. This past week against their rival Gilmer Bobcats, season opener at home, and they're going to be traveling over to Lafayette to take on the Ramblers this Friday night. Coach, let's Gilmer. Sorry, can't. By the way, sorry, Coach.
Oh,
I have to do it every time.
No problem, no problem.
Yeah, there you go. Miles, if I got to get up on that front line, help close that gap, I'm here for you, man. I'm in trouble when I see him.
That's okay. He'll probably be next.
And he'll be right here.
Yeah.
Coach, okay. Gilmer is rebuilding their program. It's first year for Coach Saunders there. Bobcats have had several tough years. They're working to try to get things turned around.
Correct.
You're going to go from, and let's just talk about the reality, you're going to go from a team that's trying to get it back together, I guess, to a team that has it back together. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
How do you prepare these guys this week? Because the Ramblers last year are 5-5. If you go into 4A Region 7 or 6, where they're at, you don't even go back 4 years. Their program was bottom of the region. Reality, they're coming off 5-5. They're a tough team you're going to play.
Right.
Talk about getting these guys ready for this Friday night.
I maintaining momentum. I think keeping them in routine, the routine that we have throughout the week, and just being able to slow down a little bit and talk about personnel and schemes. As opposed to a lot of time in the preseason, you spend so much time working on yourself, and in two scrimmages, really, you're working on yourself too. You don't do much as far as opponents go. In the last 2 weeks, we focused on Gilmer, and there's a much better football team, played as well offensively up front. They did some good stuff to our defense, but this week, we leave the wing tee, we go to a spread team.
Right.
Which is a little bit different. Last week we're all packed in the box. This week defensively we're spread out a little bit. But I think the all season has been good to us, and our camps where we've gone to 7-on-7s and we've seen the spread stuff, and we went to patty camp and defended some of that stuff. So I think that's real beneficial. Not a whole lot of teams. North Hall obviously runs a wing tee, but we don't see it a whole lot. So it really takes 7 good days of work and preparation to get ready for that offense. And whereas opposed we dabble in the spread a little bit offensively, so we get to see our stuff kind of this week that we're used to in the off season, in the summer. They're very good. They're very good up front. They're very good on defense. They don't want us to run the football. They've shown that. And then offensively, their skill kids are good. They block well. They're going to try to get on the edge with speed. We know that. So it's a tough test. It's like I said, it's the next one. They just get tougher and tougher and tougher.
Let me ask the same question in a roundabout way, Coach, as far as when you're getting in the film room this week with the guys on the offense, are you talking about the level of speed that will change this Friday night? Their defense, a lot faster, a lot more physical. How long does it take an offense to adjust? 2 or 3 plays, 4 or 5 plays? When do you know on Friday night that your guys have picked up on the difference in the speed that's coming after them and the physicality that's going to happen Friday night?
I mean, you hope that they just come out and it's there. I think one thing, and Coach will attest to this, we had a great week as far as a scout team look. I think our scouts this week gave us the best possible look they could. Now, are they going to run it as perfect as Lafayette's going to run on Friday night? No, of course not. So I really hope that, like you said, just within a few plays and you get through that first drive and you kind of see, this is what we think they're going to do. Is that truly what they're doing? And all those things. And it gives time for us as coaches to adjust to it as well. They come up with some kind of new scheme because they're worried about this, they're worried about that. So, but really, just that first series, you'll know if your boy's ready to play or not.
I guess the only way I know, Coach, is you don't know if your team's adjusted till that first series of that next game when they're playing the next opponent, right?
We call it game speed.
Right.
It's hard to simulate game speed in practice with scout team. And so you have to adjust quickly to game speed. Obviously, they do the same thing. They've got to adjust to us quickly, too. You can't get the full speed reps like that you're going to get on Friday night. You do the best you can. And like Coach Thigpen said, you hope by play 3 or 4 and you're on your script and you're trying to dictate what they're doing with your play calling and see what they're in. You hope that helps you out a little bit, possibly get them over on your hash where you can see what they're doing, if they've changed anything up. It takes a little bit. And it's hot early, too. The kids are gone through warm-ups and the adrenaline's in, and then all of a sudden they're in a ball game, and that initial adrenaline starts to fall a little bit, and the lack of oxygen starts to take over, and that's when they really have to execute, when they're tired.
Let me ask you, Alex, you're a kicker, a senior. Talk a little bit about being a kicker, how much you enjoy that, and how did you get into that? How did you, for me, when did you decide, hey, I like to kick, and what is that for you?
It started freshman year. A couple of my friends that played wanted me to come out and play, and JV needed a kicker. So I said, okay, let's give it a shot. I play soccer, and I love it. It's something that takes my mind off of everything. It's just me and 3 steps and a kick.
I asked the other 2 guys, and I want to get both of you in on this. From last year, I followed the team last year. Had a great, what I call first season here with new head coach. Just really enjoyed it. But I want this from you also. What is it like this year opposed to last year as far as the team, the leadership, the practice, and game time? What's it like different this year?
It's a lot. We have more energy going into everything. Practice, you can tell all the guys, all of us we're pumped. We're ready to go out and give it 110%.
Let me ask you this, Gabe, as a fullback, the hard work in the preseason, are you seeing that right now as far as, I always say, I watch a football team, I'll just say it, not being negative, but if I start seeing the gas gone, if I start seeing the pedal gone in that third quarter, and then I see in the fourth quarter, nobody's got any pedal, then I say, what was that preseason like, right?
Right.
How do you see the energy level? Because I keep hearing that a lot out of this team, high energy. What's that for you, and how do you see? You see a team this year that has all 4 quarters in it?
Yes, I do. In practice we get tired because it's hot and everything, but we have a great team. We put a lot of time in during the off season, and I don't see us getting tired. We're playing hard.
I would say watch a lot of coaches. They coach. They don't play. You guys play, and you guys have to have it here to finish. Is that in this team? And I ask that directly because I think, where I'm going, Coach. Yes. I see a lot of guys play, and they have to be able to have it here to finish.
Sure.
What's this team like as far as that attitude of finishing the games this year? How do you see that?
I feel strongly that every person on our team has that mentality.
Ready to finish.
Ready to finish.
Ready to finish. Coach, let me ask you this because I'm going to back up. Your team is high energy, all right? You got them coached up high energy. You're a high energy coach. These guys have had a great preseason. But how do you balance them out not to get too far?
Yeah.
You understand where I'm going, Coach?
Absolutely.
You want them up, you want them excited, but at the same time, You want that balanced ball game.
You know, somebody said today about the travel to Lafayette. We obviously said there's no easy way to get there, and it takes a while. And said, how do you feel about making that trip? You know, for me and our kids, I think a bus ride over there is actually sometimes more beneficial than being cooped up in that field house from, 4:30 to 6:30.
Right.
When we take the field and they're having to hear everything going on outside, and they're ready to come out, and you hear the music and all that kind of stuff. We get on a bus and the kids put their headphones on, and we sit back and relax and think about what we're doing. But I think that's important, and I told them that after the Copper Basin game. We came out in that first, couple drives, and after about the third drive, I mean, our guys were gassed. But a lot of it was spent in pregame, just so excited. You've got to keep your wits about you and your mind and your heart rate and your oxygen level when you're warming up to make sure that you're not expending too much. Obviously, we're preaching nutrition every day and hydration and things like that. But you've got to you always have to keep yourself in check, because humility's one Friday night away, and you said something that's very important. We haven't really played 4 quarters yet. We've played 3 games, but we haven't played 4 quarters, especially with our number ones. We've played at the most 2.5 quarters, and that's about it. There's a difference in going 48 minutes and going 24 minutes and being able to withstand that beating for that long. Lafayette, they 2 platoon. They have an offense and they have a defense. None of them go both ways. We don't do that. We got 8 to 10 guys that are going both ways and on special teams. That's why I think our December to August work is going to be so important.
Actually, that's why I brought that up here. I mean, I thought about bringing it up with Luke a minute ago, but Luke hasn't played 4 quarters yet.
Not yet.
And not yet. And you're gonna have the games in this season somewhere down the line. This team has to play till the buzzer, man. That's when the game's going to be over. And that's why I'm talking finishing, and I think that all coaches know that. I think you tell me, in coaches, because I try to think, all coaches, your goal is to get that team to where it finishes. Obviously, but being with the strength, being able to go to distance, gas pedal's not empty.
Our practice is very structured, and we are on a clock, and we're timed, and we have periods that we work. Those are full speed periods, and so we try to have everything at game speed as close as we can, and we don't have to condition a whole lot, because our drill work, we try to design it to be as game-like and as fatiguing, I guess, if that's a word, as possible. So, for instance, yesterday, we go through our offensive group and period. Inside that, we go straight to a very physical Oklahoma period spider drill, where we're just flat getting after it for 15 minutes, just hitting each other, getting fatigued. Go straight from there to kickoff. And I told the kids, why do we do things like that? It's so that you will learn to play when you're fatigued. When you have to go and kick off right after you've drove the length of the field, and now you've got to go full speed again and go back on defense and get after it again. And we don't give them a lot of time and breaks in between, just to try to condition their body for that 48 minutes.
Alex, let me ask you this. I ask every time as a kicker, what was it Monday when you come in and say, hey, I'm going to work harder at, I'm going to pay more attention to, I'm going to focus on? What was that for you individually?
Personally, it's going to be my field goals. Kickoff, I'm booting the ball as I should be down the field, getting closer and closer. Friday night, put one finally in the back of the end zone, put it. I'm just working on my field goals right now.
Gabe, what's that for you? What was that for you Monday when you came in? You said, hey, I got to work on, I need to focus on, I need to get a little better at. What was that for you?
I just come in wanting to get better, Obviously, I'm a scout team player of the week, so I just go out there and do as best as I can and try to get better.
Folks, Coach, let me get this up here real quick. We're out of time. I want to get this up. Coach Chad Cheatham says his players of the week: offense, Luke Holloway; defense, Jacob Tuggle. We had both of those guys on the couch. Special teams, Alex White.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that was him. I'm
Yeah,
joking. Come on. Alex White, special teams, and scout team, Gabe Willis. All right. Okay, we got everybody here. Coach, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Good luck over Friday night,
Thank you.
Lafayette. No easy way to get there.
No easy way to get there.
No easy way to get there. But come over and support Fan and Rebels Friday night as they travel to take on the Lafayette Ramblers. Have I showed you this yet? If I haven't, here it is. I don't know if I showed them yet, Coach. I like my jersey, man. You know how I am.
Yes, sir.
Coach Chad Cheatham, Coach Thigpen, thank you a lot. Guys, good luck Friday night.
Thank you.
Can't wait to be back next Wednesday.
Prayers for you and your mother.
Thank you
for
very
the
much. I
Rebel
appreciate
Nation. I know you're having a tough time traveling back and forth to Pennsylvania.
I appreciate
We're
you.
thinking about you.
I appreciate you very much. Thanks a lot. Team means a lot to me. Hey, tomorrow night, Team FYN Sports, again, Facebook page. Check us out from 8 to 9 with the NC Sports Report. Another sports show tomorrow night. And then Mondays, every Monday at 10:10, Team FYN Sports Facebook page. Lauren Hunter with Instant Replay. And again, Papa's Pizza to Go. Thank you very much for the meal and all of our sponsors at Team FYN Sports. Josh, take us out of here. I guess that's it.